Hello and welcome to this Warcraft replay. This is going to be the second game of this best of two. And yeah, whoopsies, was changing mouse. So I took a little break between these two games, and yeah, it's still the 4th of January, so don't worry about that. I just had breakfast since I started casting when I woke up, so you know, it's reasonable enough to have breakfast during that time. So yeah. Anyway, game going to Cechi in game 1. It was a reasonably lengthy game. I guess, you know, around the average that I would like all the games to be, but that's just not the case for some of them. As I check my library, doesn't look like there's any that exceeds 30 minutes, so thankfully I won't have that much of a hard time. Anyway, Cechi is going to be spawning in as the yellow undead player in the bottom right. Going for a Death Knight once again. It is going to be a Tomb of Relics. We have yet to see the graveyard placed down, so keep that in mind for the future. Fantafiction once again is going for a graveyard first. He is going to be spawning in as the red undead player in the top right. The map is on Nomad Isles, and it's a 3-player map. But that didn't stop Cechi from guessing right in where his opponent will be. So he will find soon that Fantafiction will be in the top right, and there's not really that much that you could actually learn from this kind of scouting, or at least this early on, because I mean, you can't see what type of hero is being trained at the altar. You can tell if the hero is being trained, but that's all. So, I mean, the only thing that Cechi could possibly use from the intel he got was that Fantafiction's Death Knight started really late. Like, by the time Cechi's Death Knight was out, Fanta just started, so there's that difference. It looks like it's just going to be that Crypt Fiend rush once again. I mean, game 1 did show the sacrifices that Fanta needed to do in order to get somewhat of an early Crypt Fiend army. It wasn't that early. I guess it wasn't that impactful, I should say, since like at the end of the game it was Cechi that had the more Crypt Fiends. So yeah, maybe it was just not the right execution from Fanta. Tier 2 is currently underway for Cechi. Meanwhile, Fantafiction himself is sticking to Tier 1, waiting on a bit of gold, and I don't think lumber is actually a problem. So having 2 ghouls so far is not really much of a factor this time around. Cechi's Acolyte has spotted where Fanta's army is currently located. Halls of the Dead has just started, so Cechi is halfway ahead in terms of tech. Alright. In terms of army supply, it does look like Fanta has maybe 2 more Crypt Fiends out, or maybe just an additional Crypt Fiend out compared to Cechi. Obviously it makes, I guess, early creeping more easier, but I don't know if it actually matters too much, because Cechi could just get very quick tier 2 army. Although that didn't necessarily happen in game 1, I guess, since Fanta just went straight tier 3. At the same time he went Lich as well, so like a huge attempt to catch up, and he did for a while until, you know, Cechi got that expand and then started to overpower Fanta. Cechi is going for a little bit of harassment with his skeletons, forcing about 2 of those acolytes to get out of the gold mine. Obviously Fanta needs to react. Thankfully he did with a couple of ghouls. Now his Death Knight is up. We'll be able to maybe deal with this threat. It is still distracting those acolytes, but now that the skeletons are done, I guess the situation has been averted. Although I would imagine there is a bit of a gold difference. There's about 200 gold difference that has been harvested. It looked like maybe a pair of skeletons from Fanta was trying to do the same thing, but obviously not to the same extent. Alright, quick jump to tier 3. No lich just yet, but we still have no resources for a sword house either, so we'll have to wait to see which of the two will be placed. It looks like the sword house will be the one that will come out first. Okay, Vile Temptress camp is being cleared out. The death coil from Cechi was maybe 1 or 2 seconds late, maybe 1 second late in killing that warden, so yeah, so far experience advantage to Fanta, but of course we have to see whether or not that will make up for the being behind in tech. I am currently not finding the right words today. Sentry Ward has been picked up. Thankfully Cechi didn't have enough damage to steal that Vile Temptress, so lucky for Fanta that we're gonna have, it looks like, a bit of pathing from the Death Knight to kill off this Crypt Fiend. No mana is available for Fanta's Death Knight, so doesn't look like that Crypt Fiend will be healed anytime soon. Thankfully, Crypt Fiend was able to live anyway. Looks like Cechi wants to get himself another Crypt Fiend. Unable to get a surround going off. So it doesn't look like things are happening too drastically. Obviously, with a lot of Crypt Fiends in their low health state, Cechi might be able to find some good opportunities here. But of course he needs to be careful because Black Citadel could maybe deal some damage, and the Nerubian Tower is up, obviously, to counter the harassment. 25% left for that tier 3. Meanwhile, the Lich has been started for Fanta. Meanwhile, Cechi has already got his Lich, as well as the Orb of Corruption. It looks like this game is actually tipping towards Cechi's favor here. Since, I mean, he's got both tier 3 and his Lich before Fanta. Slaughterhouse has yet to be completed for Fanta himself, and Cechi already has one of his statues out, so very curious to see what kind of path these two players go for. They might go the same, they might maybe change the order of things. Like, even though Destroy form, like, we've seen it being completed for Cechi, we didn't actually see any destroyers out because there was no need. A-bombs coming out as well, so that's like an immediate difference between Fanta and Cechi right now, because right now Fanta doesn't have much of a tanking force in the front, I guess. Renegade Wizard Camp is going to be cleared out. Only time will tell if Cechi chooses to expand right now. Obviously it's only around 9 minutes, so it's probably not that efficient to go for an expand right now, so maybe we'll have to wait a little while later. Dark Ranger has popped out for both players. Fantafictions might be in trouble here, but thankfully she is able to outrun those Crypt Fiends that were looking to maybe go for some path blocking. Okay, over on the top here, Fanta, maybe he should take out his Death Knight, because the other two heroes definitely do need the experience, so that's what's going to happen. Are we going to have the Orb of Corruption being transferred here? Or do we already have that? It does look like we already have that. Okay, it looks like Fanta's got himself some very good items for that Lich. Gloves of Haste, +9 claws, as well as the Orb. Definitely more of a powerhouse compared to Cechi's own Lich. We are going to have the spiked collar being picked up here, so that is going to summon a Hellhound or Fellhound, whichever. And that might be useful for not Fanta, for Cechi. I believe the Fellstalker has mana burn. Trying to remember if it is actually true, but oh well. There we go with a Frost Nova on one of those Crypt Fiends, silence on all three heroes of Cechi's. So that was a rather effective silence in my opinion. Fanta is looking to maybe take down the Death Knight, but the TB scroll will be coming in time, and well, Cechi's going to be the one retreating. Fanta actually placed down 2 wards, curiously enough. But since this one is running out, I guess it doesn't matter too much about that one. So yeah, honestly, despite the item being picked up, and it looks like it was sold by Cechi, Fanta was able to take advantage of the damage received across, you know, the army. Was able to kill like 1 or 2 Crypt Fiends and almost take down the Death Knight himself. Level 4, level 2 versus a level, I'm imagining the same thing, but it's not. Level 3, level 2. We are very close to level 3 on that lich, so there might be a little bit of evening out here, but obviously Fanta hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. The Bronze Drake camp will be cleared out on this side, and actually, is the Emerald Drake taken out? No, it's not. What about this Black Dragon? Hasn't been touched, but it looks like it's going to be touched now and cleared out. Maybe, since this is so far away from Fanta, I doubt he's going to interrupt it. So anyway, the Drake has been killed, and I have no idea which item was dropped. I don't think the dragon drops an item if that's the case. Potion of Restoration, so that's a pretty good item for the Death Knight, especially since he can't heal himself. It won't require him to learn Death Pact, so that's good in itself. Black Drake will drop a Tome of Strength +2. Okay, so the dragon drops tomes. Gotta remember that, because I've casted on Nomad Isle for a couple of times, and you know, I probably should have remembered that. Anyway, Shade from Cechi once again will keep tabs on Fanta. In terms of upgrades, we have a 1-0 and a 0-0 for himself. It looks like +2 for the Crypt Fiends will be coming out very soon. Cechi's already got 2-0, and I don't know if he's going for any more. I mean, he's sitting on quite a bit of gold, and who knows, maybe see expand coming in soon, or a low upkeep to high upkeep army. Okay, so she's gonna move in, very nicely done with that silence. Fanta's heroes were actually, what was it, clumped up together, and that made for an effective silence. We are gonna have Cechi summon a red drake, so apparently he was able to pick up a red dragon egg. Invulnerability potion will be used on both Cechi's lich and the Death Knight, but he needs to be careful with that DK. Definitely don't want to retreat now, especially since he's the one that's chasing. So yeah, gotta be careful. Fanta will be able to take down that sentry ward. I believe it was because he had the dust appearance, but oh no, it's because he have a shade out. That's probably why. Because he still has 2 of his charges on the dust. Otherwise, I mean, the only explanation is that he had another set of dust that he completely used. Anyway, Temple of Damned has been placed down for Cechi, and as well for Fanta. Master's training has nearly been completed for Fanta. I have no idea what Cechi is up to right now, and he has no banshees to actually show it. But seeing as he's not researching anything and sitting on this amount of resources, he's probably already finished Master's training. Okay, Overlord camp will be taken out. This is, I believe, a red creep camp, so it's gonna be very good for himself. Not sure if the Overlord dropped the item or was it the Temptress. Ooh, Death Pact looks like it's gonna be trained up last second and used last second, so thankfully the Death Knight was able to save himself. And I mean, the Red Drake is still pretty scary, even though Web could make it vulnerable. It will still be able to attack despite being webbed. Alright, the Abominations look like they want to focus it. Well, actually everything looks like they want to focus the Red Drake. But there we go. Oh, Frost Nova's gonna take it down actually for the execution style usage. And well, we gotta see what will happen. Silence is on the Death Knight of Cechi, so he was unable to heal any of his units, and Cechi will be able to place down a healing ward. Unfortunately, it was taken down immediately, but of course it did kind of make Fanta distracted a little bit. I'm sure that's in itself enough of a thing to maybe tip the scales in your favor. Doesn't look like it's actually true though. The Lich is going to be taken down. That was rather unfortunate. The Cechi is going to choose to retreat here, and Fanta able to not only like deal with the Red Drake, he was able to actually kill the Lich. Alright, Massive Train Banshees. I believe Fanta is over... No, he's not actually. He's at 50, like exact. Expand coming down for Cechi himself. Is finally choosing to go over upkeep now, but I mean, he's lost quite a bit in that previous fight. He's Tavern revived as a Lich, so I mean, he's revived immediately, but obviously needs time to recuperate. Nearly all the creep camps have been cleared out. The remainder is the red creep camps, and I guess you could say these hawks. I mean, it's level 2 hawk, so it doesn't give that much experience. Expand coming down from Fanta as well. Waiting on the gold mine. That means he's waiting on gold, but he can just place it down immediately. Strange. Uh-oh. Creep camp wanting... not creep camp. Crypt Fiend wanting to join the remainder of his army has been picked off. But it doesn't look like Fanta's caring too much. He's going for a counterattack immediately. Temple of the Damned is the primary target for Fanta, and I mean, we have yet to see Banshees out for Cechi. Oh, never mind, there's the Banshees, and they're Master Trained as well. But taking down the Temple of Damned will be rather... how should I say it? It would be like a setback, because that just makes Fanta either, you know, ahead or caught up. Don't know which one it is, although I do feel like Fanta is ahead right now. Well, not much is actually happening. The Fantafiction expand is nearly done. The Necropolis, obviously it's optional, but both players have chosen to do to place down one, primarily because it's a location where you could TP scroll to. I guess that's the option you have when expanding as an undead. Okay, we're gonna have a couple of Griffiths being focus fired here from Cechi. Healing ward has been placed down. Once again, I believe that is the last healing ward and is actually living for a long time. Fanta is losing a lot of Crypt Fiends, like, in consequence to that. So I believe he lost about 3, maybe, yeah, it looks like 3 Crypt Fiends. I believe one died on top of the other. Otherwise, I'm very bad at judging these things. But, okay, it looks like both players going after each other's expands. I guess it depends on who would want to TP first. I think Cechi might lose more here, just because he has his Temple of the Damned as well. Like there wasn't many acolytes harvesting from this gold mine, so I guess it doesn't matter too much, but okay, there we go. TP is indeed going to come in from Cechi, but Fanta was able to sneak in that gold mine destruction. Obviously Cechi did it first, because like it would be rather weird for him to TP out if he couldn't destroy the gold mine. So both players exchanged mines, but thankfully Cechi was able to keep his temple alive, so he won't fall behind in terms of the Banshees count. 64 versus 61. Cechi is still ahead, which is rather interesting. I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't surprise me too much since he had to expand much longer than Fanta did. I don't know what else to say. Cechi, how is he actually going to expand his army, I wonder? Is he gonna add more Banshees, or is he gonna, you know, repeat the success he had in game 1 and go a lot of Crypt Fiends? Definitely would like to know how Fanta would actually deal with this, but he's actually completely dry of resources. I believe that second gold mine was a killer to buy. Okay, only 2 Banshees out for Cechi, so he's unable to spread around the anti-magic shell completely. Meanwhile, Fanta, it looks very much prepared, although not all his units are shelled. Okay, here we go. Dust Appearance is being used just in case any of the shades are around, so who's going to start fighting? Who's going to be the first one to pull a punch? We do have a Nubian tower out for Fanta, so it's probably not wise to fight around there. There we go. First silence on Fanta's heroes. Thankfully the Death Knight was not silenced at the same time, so was able to toss out a Death Coil. Abomination for Cechi has been taken down. Meanwhile, Fanta loses himself a Crypt Fiend. A second Abomination for Cechi has been taken down, so he only has 1 A-bomb left. I don't know what the next target is. She has a Destroyer out, but it's being webbed immediately and taken down. Level 4 for the Dark Ranger. That might actually be significant for Fanta, although I don't know. I was gonna say that 2 Crypt Fiends were taken down, but they were actually from 1 of each player. Who is winning this fight? Cechi's gonna lose his final Abomination. Meanwhile, Fanta, Plentiful, has 2 left. But there we go with the Frost Nova to try and burst one down. Death Knight for Cechi has taken quite a bit of beating, so that is going to be a sign for him to retreat. Obviously, this is kind of home court advantage for Fanta, since this is his half, or his third, I should say. So he could reinforce his army much quicker. Death Knight is really ballsy right now, but of course, he actually had his invulnerability potion. I got a little confused there, because I mean his aura is kind of yellowish, so yeah, that is going to be a tie once again. Or not once again, that is going to be a tie. So yeah, I don't know why there's so much leftover like video here, so oh dear. Anyway, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one. This was... I don't know how to describe it, because both players literally just played the same way and just happened to have different results, so yeah. As we wait for the school to very quickly destroy this Temple of the Damned, yeah, that is all. So that's 2 series done. I have 4 more from Group A to do. Again, I chose this series by rolling a dice, so maybe that's not that creative. But, yep. Look forward to the next one. I might just cast, like, Cechi versus Cechi right now, since... Or next time, maybe. I'm a little tired. But, yeah. Expect Cechi Cechi series next time. I'll see you guys again soon, and take care.